Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the third part of this installment of Don't Worry About the Government. Joining me once again, our champion, William West, the challenger, hot on his heels. Honestly, an intense round two. An intense round two. William's got a lot of work here to come back in round three. We'll have to see how it
I don't know
goes.
how we're keeping score.
I, it's all up here. There's like it's
Okay.
points for vibe, the pastiche, uh pizzicato, like lots of kind of international words that I kind of think about. Intermezzo, internecine, lots of different things to think about. Now, Finbar, I'm a literary man, as you just heard with my choices of words there. But your wife is an author, is she
Yeah,
not?
she
Yeah.
is indeed. Yeah.
Okay. She got a book coming
So,
out.
well, she has her book out. It's out a year actually. It's it's there behind me, Nora. It was actually on the New York Times last year, 2021, top 10 literary fiction,
Nice.
historical fiction. Yeah, to
That's
list. So
that's
yeah.
really awesome.
So yeah, and because this year is the 100th anniversary of Ulysses, James Joyce's novel coming out, she's flat out because the Nora of her book is Nora Barnacle, James Joyce's wife and
Well,
muse.
I'm
So
going to order that. My
yeah.
dad was an English major at Yale, and he
Oh, very good.
loves James Joyce, and so I'm going
I
to order
no,
that.
I wanted to mention it because we were talking about it before the show,
Yeah.
and I think it's awesome. James Joyce is definitely a person I wish I knew more about, and I think like this book, it's real. I think it's important, like the old adage of behind every great man there's a woman, but like I think it's actually important that like no, like dude, like these people actually like this is a very meaningful relationship. They live
Mm,
together, and in this case, as you were saying. Nora's life was very inspirational to James Joyce, and
mm,
I think like that helps us. Frankly, if you're passionate about these artists, understanding the people that they were
yeah,
passionate about in their lives will help you better understand their art and their work and stuff. So I
yeah,
think it's really cool. It's a really cool book.
yeah.
You did
No,
not ask me to give a plug or anything like that, but yeah, no, guys, go and check out that book. I
yeah.
actually wanted to bring that up. I wanted to do a real good faith plug on it
Thank you
because
very
you
much.
know who else has a book coming out
Oh
here
yes, indeed.
soon? Yeah, yeah. And he timed it with a heck of an advertisement. Noted author Stephen Breyer. Now,
I
you
love
might know him from his work on the Supreme Court, and staying there far too long and watching one of his colleagues stay there far too long and then drop dead, and then he still stayed there. Well, apparently we know why he was still staying there. It's not because he doesn't understand how death works, people. It's because he understands how books work.
work.
And that if you are going to get the best book sales, you need to stay on the court. And so with his upcoming book coming out, Stephen Breyer was like, "My work here is done, people. Let me give you one more lecture about civility and how Father does indeed know best before I ride off into the sunset." And he did, and he did. He told us that we gotta work together. Thanks. And he still believes in the system. All right. And like this was heartwarming stuff. It's sad to see this man go, right?
Uh, mm,
Yeah.
okay, I
He's
guess.
there's a time for everybody, and I think it's
I
time to
mean, I
go.
do hope that he'll be replaced by a Democrat, but I'm just like, I don't even know if that's even going to happen.
So yeah, okay. Like obviously, screw Stephen Breyer. I hope it came through in my dripping sarcasm that I think this guy's a raging narcissist, and
Oh
that
yeah, I totally agree.
yeah. No, I know you guys. I just figure I wanted to hit this with the cleanup right quick.
Yeah.
No, raging narcissist. And also a guy with really crappy record on a number of different things. So, like I
Mhm.
know he's sort of like remembered as like a liberal or whatever, and he was more liberal than people thought when they put him on this court. But his career in the 1980s, particularly I believe on civil asset forfeiture. Oh no, minimum sentencing, mandatory minimum sentencing. There's a thread that I put out on the Don't Worry About the Government account at DWATG. Is just one of his many totally gross things. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's got a lot of these too. Like these people better than their conservative counterparts. Absolutely good. in spots, in spurts, sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
And Stephen Breyer's a guy, yeah. Glad to see him gone. Think that what he was doing was staying on the court. He should have been gone the first day of Joe Biden's administration. And to your point, William, one of the only reason that's even sort of a question mark if he's going to get on the court is because Breyer wouldn't just leave on day one. Because I think the only day that it's really guaranteed you're going to get a Supreme Court justice on is if you leave day one. Because even then, a Joe Manchin can't be like, well, I don't really know, civility, blah, 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 and it would have been after 1-6. That the Republicans would have really been scared of their own shadow. Right now, what Breyer's done is he set up a fight when what he could have done was set up a walk, but he needed to get his book out. So, I got no love for this guy at all.
Yeah. So, and obviously then, because he's not going till the summer, isn't that right? He's not going till the end of so it'll be running up to the elections in November that he'll be at the height of the bun fight when the next judge has been appointed.
Yes, and Collins is already signaling that for civility's sake, she wants to have it's a lifetime appointment, for goodness sake. She wants to have a lengthy deliberation on this. The Democrats, for their part, have already settled in on who their nominee is going to be. It's Kentahi Jackson Brown, I believe is her name. I've heard it a billion times, but the first name's a new one for me this week. But yes, they've already settled in on who their candidate's going to be. I have no problem with this. Everyone, there's a bit of conversation about the typecasting and Biden saying we're going to have a black woman or whatever. Look, you telling me that Amy Coney Barrett wasn't typecasting?
Yeah.
If you're gonna say typecasting, make it very clear that you're using that for Amy Coney Barrett too. They are picking these people based on political identities, I guess. But it's that's really more the point, right? This is deeply political now. Jackson is being selected not because she's a black woman, despite Biden's inarticulateness, because Clarence Thomas meets one of those two parameters, and yet we don't like him at all. It's all about politics, right? It's about what you represent, what your jurisprudence is, and ultimately it's about politics. And right wingers will pretend it's about something more highfalutin. I'm not going to give you that crap. No, it's political.
Yeah. I think I imagine you don't get that high up in such a business as being a judge without being certainly a certain amount conceited and probably a bit of an arsehole,
Yeah, you're in a position where you can have it for your whole life and no one can ever fire you. So
Right. And they wear robes all day, dude.
Yeah.
Who else in society wears robes all day?
Well, in the UK, they still wear the wigs, right?
They still, and in Ireland they do as well. The judges, they're and if you're, I've never seen the Supreme Court judges, but I have been in the High Court in Ireland, and they have a tip staff guy. So he's a chap who walks ahead of him, getting everybody out of the way.
Yeah.
But apparently the court I was in, the judge picked the tip staff because he was a good chef. To rustle them up a bit of food in between the sittings, but they have all the ceremony and all the robes and the wigs are all centuries old. They've all got a massive history to them, So
oh wow,
so
I didn't think they shared them. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I still think that's fascinating. I still think they're bad. No, but that's fascinating. That they have an extent. I just thought they made them new every time, but I didn't realize that's really crazy.
That's why
we should do that with the robes in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So
you still have to wear William Rehnquist's stinky robe. Yeah.
You go from William Howard Taft to Amy Coney Barrett.
You get Scalia's robe. It just reeks of pipe tobacco and cigars. It's from the 1980s. Oh, you never clean this. Okay, I see. So anyways, Biden's gonna try to put up one person. I'm gonna say the chances are better than 50% she gets on the court. I think they'll find a way to get this done. I think if you're only going to put one person on the court and you've already decided that it's going to be a black woman, you might as well put Anita Hill on the court. But let's do some cosmic justice here.
Yes.
She's not going to be there very long, okay, but for that one moment where Clarence Thomas has to sit next to Justice Anita Hill, that's who Joe Biden should be picking.
Yeah.
But what actually needs to happen is Biden needs to get his Supreme Court commission back. They need to say what we all know needs to happen, which is that this court's fundamentally broken and that it can't keep cruising along at 6-3 indefinitely for the next 40 years, completely out of step with American society and not create major cultural fissures, even more than it already has. We're like 8 months into this, and they're already going after like Roe versus Wade in a serious way. Like, I mean, it's sort of ridiculous to think that it wouldn't, like that like this would get better over the next 10 to 15 years. It's not. Yeah. It's going to get worse.
Yeah. That's kind of what I envision.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was just going, well, it's just something I wonder is, the way, say with Roe versus Wade and Obergefell and some of those other ones where the courts have basically interpreted the Constitution based on the lack of law. And then everyone says, oh, that's fair enough. And then we won't bother underpinning it by law, so that it means it's never settled. So it's never, nothing is ever really settled.
They don't have to actually overturn Roe versus Wade to undo all of the implications of it.
Yeah. Yes. They'll quote unquote send it back to the states.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without they're not gonna. To your point, they're not gonna really litigate the right to privacy thing. They're just gonna send that matter back to the states and let the states decide.
But they're gonna uphold basically anything that essentially prevents any type of possible abortion, right? So like in the state of Mississippi, it's like there really is no abortion. Like there's no actual option. But technically, Roe v. Wade still exists.
Right. No. And then, the question is going to be, legally speaking, how do people get their rights back? I still don't. I don't know. That stuff makes me very depressing.
But we have. It just takes a new court. I mean, it's Plessy versus Ferguson that says separation is equal, and then you have Brown versus Board of Education, right?
It's I mean, that's the answer. Yeah, it's a complete generation. No, I mean, that's
and it's also from a generation from the ground up. I mean, like
Well, and even with Brown versus Board of Education, they didn't think that the Chief Justice would vote the way he did.
Yeah.
Like he technically still kind of went against what everyone thought he was. So. Even that wasn't ground up in a way, right? He wasn't like that progressive, earlier on, kind of.
Yeah. But it's depressing though. Like we're talking about 25, 30 years.
Right. That's what. Yeah. It's like, and those people, you have to be lucky enough to have the president in charge at the time when those people die, or.
That's the
then you got another 30 years.
Those people, I mean, the people on the court, you're right too. The people on the court right now, like Kavanaugh is only on the court because he's young. Coney Barrett, like everyone focuses on the woman in the Catholic front of her. I think about the fact that she's like 45 or something like that. No, she's there. She's there to be an institution.
Years.
Oh, 35, 45. Yeah. 45. No, they're going to, I mean, in the year 2070, they're going to have her on the best drugs and be keeping her ass on the bench. Unless, and to your point, this is the other thing, she's a guaranteed handoff back to them because she can stay on the court for that extra 10 years or 15
But see, that's the thing too, is like Republicans will actually do that.
Yep.
Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg should be lauded for her accomplishments in all kinds of things. But
in many cases, not on the Native American things. But
the Republicans would have retired earlier. I mean, that's just what they do. They know the game. They play the game. They know what they're doing. And like when next time a Republican's in office, I bet Thomas will retire.
Kennedy didn't hang around. Kennedy got out of there like 78. Yep. No, you're right. Like they'll do
like,
it.
I think Thomas will retire.
Thomas is the one place where they might have fucked up. And I think that there's a quiet hope among many Democratic establishment people that Thomas fucked up here and that he stayed on the court too long, and like he's not that they can hold the House for the next.
Yeah.
Essentially, the Democrats think they can get this back to 5-4 if they wait until Thomas strokes out. I really think that is the quiet narrative among the reason that we don't need to actually fix the court is because soon enough Thomas will stroke out. We'll be back at 5-4. It'll be okay. But that's all really premised on the idea that McConnell and the Senate Republicans are ever going to let you get a judge onto the court, and it's really unclear to like I could absolutely see that the Republicans with no shame at all going and it's true, by the way, there's no law that says that the Supreme Court has to have 9 justices. There isn't. There actually isn't.
Any number.
You actually don't have to replace a justice.
Yeah, it can be any number.
Yeah, any number. You actually don't have to replace a justice. Which frankly would have been the fastest way to reform the court, by the way. But like just to start shaving off justices, rather than adding them on. But that I could see them making that argument that and then they'll pivot and go like, well, we're about to have an election anyways. I know we had this debate for 5 months, but now are you going to really deny the people their voice on this? Let's have the people decide whether or not we should have 8 justices or not.
That's it. You were right about Amy Coney Barrett all along. We should have waited.
Yes. Though they don't care. I mean, there's this whole idea that among liberals, progressives, whatever, that hypocrisy still matters. It doesn't. That history will judge them. No, they'll just remove the books. A lot of these things don't work. Only thing that really works is like a forceful response. It's force. It's actual meaningful political pushback, meaningful on the street force. Like it's actual force though. The shame and an appeal to shame and an appeal to hypocrisy is not going to do anything. Any final thoughts here before? Let's move on to Neil Young. Our final topic here. Neil Young and rocking in the free world. So Neil Young is a hothead and a dude prone to erratic fits and moves and like that's kind of what we like about Neil Young. That's sort of his charm. Like he quits and like says half a peach when he quits the band. That's what he did with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. This is a prickly dude. And he heard about Joe Rogan doing anti-vax stuff last week and got online and posted a Twitter that's like, you can have Neil Young or you can have Joe Rogan, but not both, which I like Neil Young. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, I mean, I
he writes jams. I thought this was funny.
Young, so.
I thought this was so funny, though, because it was like, dude, you're going to lose this. Like Neil, you're not relevant like that.
There is that, but it's also just like the idea that you have someone who is genuine, right? And like he had polio 3 years before the polio vaccine came out as a kid. Like this is pretty serious for him, where he's like, no, like I'm actually like not messing around here. You guys are like, this is not okay, And it's like, at least, with a lot of, you learn about a lot of celebrities as they get older and you're like, that wasn't what I thought, At least with Neil Young, he's who he says, that's who he is,
I'm not saying I'm not saying, if anything, I'm saying he's being very authentic. Like Neil Young's authentically. No,
I love it.
Mine's that weird time where he's like, I love Reagan. But like even that's like authentically Neil Young in its own weird way. Like he picks fights and takes sides that like are like weird and different or whatever. And like, let's be real here too. I think it's actually working out pretty nice for Neil Young. Like
he's got a lot of publicity,
dude. He's getting a lot of publicity. And I want to be clear. I don't think he was thinking about that shit for a second when he did it. Not in the heart. But like, cause he didn't understand like culture war dynamics like that. But like, that just so happens to be the byproduct of our outrage machine at this point. Anyways,
but you know what I was wondering about that is that given his past behavior when he's had things. Why didn't he write a song about it, which he could have blasted out, which would then been a song about Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
And
He
could have
might
fired
still.
that. He could have fired. Yeah, he might still, because I know he does a, you know what I mean? Because he, whatever, in terms of him being able to not, you know, fire out a song with a 15-minute guitar solo and put it up on Spotify. And, you know, the thing is that Spotify, the people that have got prepaid from Spotify don't get money based on their number of downloads.
Right.
You know, so they don't soak any money out of Spotify. So it's better money for Spotify to lose him rather than that.
All I know is
if you got a song that sucked a bit of the money out of Spotify, it'd be a win-win.
I mean, I read he's worth like 200 million, but 60 in terms of his just regular income, which he doesn't need anymore. But like, you know, it is if he got removed from Spotify, it is a 60% hit on his revenue.
Man, 60%. Oh, on his current revenue. Yeah. No. I mean, it's not nothing.
Just the revenue of the place, like not like any other thing. Like
I mean, now granted, he's now moving over to Apple Music. Apple Music seems to be kind of happy to like participate in this little culture war thing. It like serves their own ends. Yeah. I mean, I like, and this. Here's what I think. Now that I'm like watching this play out, I think this could potentially be the start of artists being exclusive to one of these two services or whatever, so that if you want to hear them, they're young, you got to be over on app. I mean, now granted, like I think
some do that, but maybe that's more like podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, but I could also like look. I think this is potentially positive for artists in terms of us starting to get our voice back. In like going like, no, Joe Rogan sucks, like, and actually having a way of like doing something business wise to affirm that value. Like you shouldn't have to be on the same surface as someone who's putting out crap like that.
Yeah, I often wonder, will you know, a lot of writers are going on Substack in order to create their own micro publishing industries. I'm wondering whether, and I was thinking this about particularly about punk rock musicians, whether creating micro streaming services for small groups with a smaller fee, but
so
that would be dedicated
bring back
to
MySpace music. I do. We were actually in one of my band meetings. We were pitching like basically doing a Patreon where essentially we make a community. So like it's a music community, as in like you will get exclusive music. We'll put music out there. We engage with our community and essentially make a space for like our band's music and a broader discussion of music exclusives to that band and taking back where people go to hear your music. Like actually
and, I think remember Prince did it and David Bowie did it, where they created their own paywall on their sites, and people who were inside would get a lot of exclusive music and a lot of content that, you know, and but man, maybe that's the way to go. I mean, we have a friend who's a writer and he's on Substack, but he's saying like it's impossible to make the kind of money as a writer that he can make there. He can, like at $5 a month, he could get 50,000 people. You know, if he hits a note, he gets invited on some show. A lot of people will sign up and forget to not unsign out from him, and he's suddenly got an income that's outrageous compared to what he had before, and all from micro donations and in that kind of a way, you know. Better share.
That's a good time to remind people that don't worry about the government is supported by micro donations. You can go to patreon.com/DW8DG. $1 a show is all we ask over here at Don't Worry About the Government, listener supported podcast. And like straight up, thank you all for supporting the show. The reason we do the $1 a show thing too, by the way, is specifically for like months like this where I don't get around to taping an episode but once a month. You've given me $1, rather than giving me some fixed amount and me shortchanging you on product. I don't want to do that, but I also don't want to make promises I can't keep. So what I can keep is a fixed per show thing. So anyways, this is to say thank you all for supporting the show. Do we have anything more to say about Neil Young and Spotify, or I think we're done? I feel like
is he still on Spotify? I know.
No, he's off. No, he's off.
It's gone now.
Yeah. And what's funny, and I think the one moment that hurt Neil Young is when he deleted the letter and they still flushed him anyways. Like there's this down. Yeah, like he's like, oh, I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking better of this. Like, no, Neil, no, you're good. I mean, because like, look, and it honestly, it's gonna work out all for the best for him. But no, he's now not on Spotify. There are a lot of people angry that he's not on Spotify. And for my part, I cannot sign letters anymore with "Keep on Rocking in the Free World," which I used to, but I'm in Texas and like people are weird enough that like I can't do that. But I definitely have emails that are signed "Keep on Rocking in the Free World," just because I'm a music teacher and like I want to occasionally fit the part. I mean, more often, you get what I'm saying. It's a mess. It stinks for Young. Well, it doesn't even stink for Young. What stinks is that Joe Rogan's still on Spotify. That's the only bad part of this story is that nothing bad has happened to Joe Rogan.
Well, I suppose he did have to listen to Jordan Peterson squealing.
Yeah, right.
At close range.
I don't see that doesn't bother him, and that you reminded me like, if Neil Young does decide to record like a 15-minute song, on Joe Rogan, with an extended guitar solo, I hope it is a mixture of blues and rock with a splash of country flavors. Or whatever, however it is that Jordan Peterson describes it on that video. Yeah, that's all I got here. That's going to do it for this episode of Don't Worry About the Government. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks very much.
Both of y'all, it's been a minute since we got in chat. But so that's it.
Well,
nice.
and hopefully John Morant can win MVP this year.
I don't see.
He's going to be going for All-Star MVP. He's going to be pulling a Kobe, I think.
Nice.
And just gunning for the All-Star MVP.
That's lit. Where can people find you on the internet, William?
Let's see. I can't remember.
Do you care? Do you need to be found on the internet?
No, not really.
No. Okay. Finbar, plug the book one more time, please.
Okay, it's Nora by Nuala O'Connor.
Yes.
What's the front of it look like? Looks like that with a giant Nora on it.
Nice. Dope.
And
guys,
so, it's from HarperCollins, so it should be in all good bookshops and online.
Yes.
And,
so put it
I
on
ordered
your
a copy. I ordered a copy for my dad.
Oh, very good. Great,
Nice.
Good stuff. Well, I hope he enjoys it. And
you will.
no?
Patreon.com. Patreon.com/DWATG is this show, at DWATG, iTunes, Twitter, Spotify. My name is Chris Novembrino. You are all the listeners. I want to thank you all so much for listening and supporting the show. And until the next one, bye-bye.